iHeartMedia Incorporated.
Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, Tampa Bay. Captain Dylan Hubbard here for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show. We've got Captain Bobby Woodard of Fly 'em High Charters in studio this morning, talking fishing and having a good time on this little breezy Saturday morning. Got a little bit of a windy weekend ahead, but it's going to calm down nicely as we approach the start of this work week. We're on a new moon right now. New moon is today, so going to be a little bit more of a tidal flow, a little bit more of a flush going on. But as we move into the coming work week around Wednesday, those tides will slow down a little bit for us, and we'll get closer to that first quarter moon next weekend. So things are definitely moving, and fish are moving. Things are on the move. It seems like we're finally starting to get into that real transition period. This week's forecast looks like a very typical March forecast. Even though March is almost over, it seems like we're finally into that time frame of real March weather where it just is windy, blustery, and I don't know. I don't know what to say other than I was a little depressed because I did the Fox 13 weather report and like fishing update Friday morning. And when I looked at the weather for that report, all as far as the eye could see, the next 7 days was all dark blue on Windfinder, which is like 10 mile an hour or less. And I was like, yes, we finally got a nice stretch of good weather. It's looking great. By yesterday afternoon, within 10 hours, the forecast had shifted. It's definitely calling for a little bit more of a moderate wind for, I would say, a majority of the forecast period. Today is obviously going to be pretty breezy until this afternoon. Sunday, tomorrow, looks pretty breezy almost all day. Monday is kind of a moderate breeze. It calms down. It is really nice Tuesday. Wednesday's okay. Thursday, the wind picks up again, and it's going to be breezy Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it is a breezy time of year. It's that sunny. It's like the cold fronts don't make it all the way down.
Right.
They stall just north of us, but they get close enough to cause that pressure gradient and cause that wind. And I don't know. It's a little frustrating, a little defeating because I was hoping we were finally going to get into that nice weather pattern, but it just seems like it's still out of reach.
Yeah, I don't envy you in your position, you know, running the business and multiple boats and offshore and like it's you know, from an inshore perspective, it's hard enough with just one boat. But generally speaking, we can, you know, go somewhere and hide and get out of it and still fish. But trying to constantly juggle that, I don't know how you do it, bro.
It's a shell game, that's for sure. But water temperatures, the one good thing I can talk about is the water temperatures are creeping up for us for sure. That Egmont Key buoy is reading 69 degrees basically today, 68.5. And the offshore buoy, which is pretty well offshore, about 100 miles or so to our southwest, is reading about 71 degrees. So water temperatures are finally in that right range. We haven't seen the kingfish ourselves on our trips. Kingfish are more of a bycatch for us, but we've definitely hooked a few and lost them. And the mackerel are thick along the beaches, catching quite a few mackerel. And I was at a Blessed Sacrament, or my kids' school that they go to is having a carnival. So I'm walking around the carnival, and these two young kids run up, and they're like, "Hey, you're the guy on the radio show, right?" And I was like, "What's up, man?" I'm talking to these kids. They are fired up about fishing, middle schoolers.
Awesome.
And I'm like, "Yeah, what kind of fishing do you do?" Fully expecting these kids to be like, "Oh yeah, we fish from a bridge or we fish from a dock." He was like, "Oh no, we kayak fish." And I was like, "Oh, you kayak fish? Cool. So you like snook trout?" He's like, "No, we kayak fish offshore." And I was like, wait, what? And so they proceed to tell me that they take their bikes and their kayaks down to the beach, launch off the beach, kayak out a couple miles, catch mackerel, and then once they catch the mackerel, they rig them up on a slow troll rig, and then slow troll these live mackerel behind their kayaks and catch 50, 35, 50, 60-inch kingfish.
Nice.
I was like, wait, you guys are catching kingfish off kayaks? And they were like, yeah, we're crushing them. And I was
So
well, we can't catch them.
king of the beach from a kayak?
I guess. I mean, these kids were crushing it. It was really, really cool to see and interesting to hear. And then talking to our team, a lot of the boats out of Clearwater, off that Clearwater hard bottom area, the Veterans Reef area, they're seeing a lot of kingfish. It's really going well for them. So that was something that happened last year too. Like we got a weak spring run of kingfish, but the guys off of Clearwater had them solid.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe just our area off of St. Pete maybe has a little different color water because of Tampa Bay. A lot of times that Tampa Bay dumps out on that outgoing tide and it kind of eddies to the north. And that eddy to the north kind of keeps us in that greenish water a little bit longer.
So that Clearwater is kind of on the inside of the eddy, the backside.
Exactly. And I think that's my guess as to why they have kingfish so thick and we don't. But we were trolling out the other day on a half day and we lost a couple spoons. And that to me tells me the drag wasn't set right for one. And then we got some bigger, weightier fish on the spoons.
Oh, so. They were just kudos.
Yeah. I don't know. But they did hook up, the Flying Up 2 had a flat line out, and they hooked up on a fish that spooled basically a 4/0 reel. It was a little Yvette, a really nice Yvette, and it was loaded with braid. And before we could get the boat started, come up on the anchor and start chasing this fish, it was spooled.
Wow.
Dumped. So that to me was a big wahoo.
Yeah.
So pelagic action is heating up, which is exciting.
Nice.
So at least there's that to report from the weather. So it's going to be a breezy week. Definitely want to watch the weather. And the other thing this time of year, besides the windiness and the sunny, nice, seemingly nice days on shore, but breezy offshore days, is the weather forecast can change so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to constantly keep an eye on the weather, keep checking the weather. So definitely any chance you get these weather windows, take advantage of them, get out there and capitalize. Remember, the weather update was brought to you by our friends at Reese Windows and Doors. I was talking about weather windows, and that threw me off. But Reese Windows and Doors is Florida's leading window and door company with over 50 years in business. They offer free installation on most windows and doors, and they install in just 6 weeks. They only use in-house installers, no freelance contractors, and their work comes with a double lifetime warranty, which means you never pay for your warranty when you sell your home, and that warranty transfers to the new homeowners, adding value to your home. Visit reesewindows.com for more information. So it's exciting time. Plus, besides the transition period, the mackerel showing up, the kingfish finally starting to show up pretty good and better for some than others. The other exciting thing is the mangrove snapper bite has really picked up for us. We're on the doorstep of the 20-fathom or deep water closure ending. April 1st, that ends, so we'll be able to have our flexibility back to fish where we want offshore and keep those red grouper, and that's exciting as well, giving us a lot of flexibility back for our long range and offshore trips. But we also have tarpon season around the corner.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, tarpon season's coming. Everything inshore is really, booming right now, especially up here in the bay. I don't fish up in here in the bay anymore, but I've been getting reports and seeing stuff on social media. Big trout, man. It's really cool to see the big trout coming back.
Big trout, and I've been getting a lot of photos of sheep's head.
Yeah.
The redfish bite still seems really solid.
Yeah.
And
our buddy Dan the fish man had a big sheep's head the other day that he posted up.
Yeah, some wild looking sheep's head too with the stripes. But also on top of that, the snook bite was a little soft this last week, a couple people said, but I think this week it'll be better with the warming trend. Hopefully that water will
better
clear
tides.
up a little bit, with the better tide. And hopefully we'll also see the pompano bite start to pick up a little bit. It's been a little soft, a little spotty. I had a guy in the shop this week came in and chatted with me. He was like, "Hey, I want to show you something." And I was like, "Okay." It was kind of weird. He takes me out back. I was like, is this guy trying to sell me drugs? Nope. He wanted to show me a brand new pompano setup.
Yeah.
So this was pretty interesting. I was excited to talk about this morning. So we have the pompano jig, whether it's a Doc's Goofy jig, a ball jig. There's so many
Silly
different.
Willy.
Yeah, there's so many different sorts of pompano jigs, but it's very common to tie a fly, a little teaser fly.
Right.
6 inches or so above your pompano jig on an open loop. Or, like Van says, he ties it behind the pompano jig. So it's always a fly, typically. This guy was from up north, couldn't get the flies where he was up north because they just don't sell that kind of thing. So he was like, hey, I tie a crappie jig. And I was like, crappie? I get made fun of when I call him that. You got to call him specs here, sir. So I set him straight. But he ties a spec jig, a small, like I think he said a number 1 or number 2 hook, so a very small hook, and then he puts the rubber spec jig on that hook. So like a very small, like
a little 32nd or something, or 16th.
He sent me a picture of it. I couldn't believe it. A very small rubber worm. I've never spec fished myself, so I didn't know what they look like. I assumed they were very small, but when I saw it in person, I was like, oh, that's really small. So he's saying that he's catching most of his pompano on that spec jig. Yeah. They're hitting the jig above the pompano jig. So, I mean, a lot of people catch pompano on the fly, the little fly teaser above the pompano jig. But to hear that the spec jig was working so well was pretty interesting.
You know why, right?
No idea.
Because they haven't seen it before.
True. Yeah, it's
nobody else is doing it.
I guarantee not many people are throwing a spec jig to the pompano. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear, and interesting to hear it's working so well. And so many people are saying they're struggling on the pompano, and he's like, I've caught 6 today.
And now you gave his secret away.
He's from up north. He'll be gone soon. He's just visiting. Hopefully he's not mad at me. Hopefully he's not listening.
Sorry, not sorry.
But it was really interesting. That setup was working, and it was an interesting tale. I mean, fishing, once you think you know it or have it figured out, it changes, and some innovations are done. So
100%.
It was really interesting to hear, for sure. And we were talking before the show, with tarpon season around the corner, now is the time to get booked up if you're trying to get on a tarpon trip, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, if you're planning on tarpon fishing with a reputable tarpon guide, coming up this year, if you're not already booked, you need to get booked. I would say soon, like within the next week, maybe 2, because that's what we do.
Yeah, they book up early.
Yeah. That's, I mean, for me personally, I always send out a thing, like a mass email around Christmas time, just kind of checking in with my established clients. Hey, happy holidays. Hope all's well. Blah blah blah. Here's some good moons, some good tides, looking forward to next year, get back with me kind of thing. So always kind of give first shot to, the established client base, and then, fill in the blanks, from there.
Yeah, and now's the time that the blanks are filling in. So
yes.
If you want to get out with one of these top-ranking tarpon guides, now's the time to get booked before season really kicks off. Once the photos of the tarpon start hitting social media, the bookings are pretty much already full for most of these guys.
For sure.
Yeah. So time to book is now. We've got Donald from Lutz, Capt Mike Perry also on the line. We're going to get to these guys on the next segment. Hopefully we'll hear from you guys as well. Remember, if you want to call the show and bring us a fishing report, question, whatever, give us a shout, 1-800-969-9352. Real Animals Radio. We'll be right back.
Lexus invites you.
The
Spec jig.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
So it was like a little soft plastic on the back.
Yeah, he sent me a picture of it. I can pull it up.
Because they make like hand tied, like little spec bucktails as well.
No, it's a soft plastic because he said he put a little bigger hook on.
Okay.
And then he put the soft plastic on top of it. I have one of these. That's hilarious.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So he changed the hook out, but we used to sell those at the.
I don't know if they can see that.
At the tackle shop, we used to sell those. They actually came on like a card, and you just hang the card up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're individually packaged in little plastic things, and you just pull off however many packages off the card, that you want. I think it was like 25 individual ones per card or whatever. Is how we've stocked them and sold them.
Yeah, you got to go over to Ron's Tackle Box and get your pompano jigs now.
Mark Spain Real Estate allows you to receive an all-cash offer on your home and close in as little as
Justin say, oh, what did he say? Got the Polk County boy. Boat building redneck extraordinaire. That sounds about right. It's Bobby's middle name.
Hubbard's Marina on the boardwalk at John's Pass. Hubbard's Marina has been fishing since 1920
They offer everything from family-oriented half-day trips to the more advanced.
Was that guy tying that spec jig above or behind? Did you ask him?
Above.
Above?
Yeah.
Great tackle store that can provide live bait and tackle to fish from their boats.
It's so funny, man. Like, everybody has their own way, and they all work because, you know, most people are above. Van likes behind, and I'm pretty sure when we had Bill in here, Bill said he puts his just right down on it.
Yeah. I was telling that guy too. I was like, hey, there's a couple different ways to rig that, and he was pretty interested to hear that. So I think he was going to try one of them behind the fly.
Yeah.
Nick asked that I post the photo of the Pompano teaser in our supporters group, so I'm going to do that now.
There you go.
Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Why pay
If
more
I can
for
figure it
prescriptions?
out.
Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com. Show the coupon at the pharmacy and start saving.
Pompano
SingleCare
teaser.
works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Get ready as iHeartRadio teams up with the ultimate.
Dan wants a pick too.
I thought Dan was in the supporters group.
With 2 exclusive channels. Catch this week's biggest hits as we count down to number 1.
Justin. He goes, Bobby knows all about the Clearwater hard bottom area for Kings and 25 knot winds.
That sounds like there's a good story there.
Yeah, we fished King of the Beach one year, and I think it was the fall one, if I remember right. We were in a 27-foot Grady White. I'm sitting in the aft starboard corner, just getting soaked with 5-gallon buckets of water every 30 seconds.
That's crazy. We're back, Bartow for Real Animals Radio. Captain Dylan Hubbard here from Hubbard's Marina. We also got Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters. We've got a few callers on the line we're going to get to now, but hopefully we'll hear from you as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. And before we get to Donald from Lutz, we want to give a shout out to our friends over at Affordable Roofing Systems. Whether you need a shingle, metal tile, or a flat roof, our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems are your safest choice for repairs or replacements. With over 3 decades of roofing experience, let Affordable Roofing Systems guide you through this important process. They are defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and have a professional approach to doing business. Call 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate or visit them online at affordableroofingflorida.com. I've used them. Big Ben Marshall's used them. Bobby kind of used them by proxy. They just did my neighbor's home. They do a really, really good job. So check them out, affordableroofingflorida.com.
Yeah, great people.
For sure. All right, we got Donald from Lutz talking about a little bit of kayak fishing. Did we wake you up early this morning talking about those kayaks catching kingfish, Donald?
Oh, man. You know what's the best time this year, about this time of year right now, is that a few weeks ago it was 5:24 and not 6:24.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to get up. You get an extra hour of sleep. So you don't have, so it's still going to be a little dark. I'm already on.
No, that's not how this works. Springing forward does not give you an extra hour of sleep, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. I disagree.
Well, I would have had to, it'd be 5:25. So I don't know, whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, still, it's still early, still dark 30. But anyway, heading out to Caladesi Island, there's going to be a bunch of us, and I know Captain Gene Hammond from Really Freedom. I invited him, and any veterans that want to come along, so I know he's coming.
Awesome.
We're going to have a bunch of good people out there, so we should be okay from the winds. Because I believe it's like a southeast wind. Is that correct?
Today they are calling for a south swell offshore and an east wind this morning, and then it shifts out of the south around 2 p.m. So southeast wind a little bit midday, but mostly east to start, and then a little bit more southern this afternoon.
Yeah, so we should be protected because we're going to be fishing, launching from the causeway and fishing up to Caladisi, or people going up the honeymoon. So we should be protected from that wind out there. So
awesome.
We catching trout, redfish, snook, and maybe I'll find a flounder or two. You never know.
Hey,
awesome.
Donald, important question here. What's on the menu? What you cooking today?
That's exactly word for word what I was going to say. That's hilarious.
Here we go. We got the Caladisi Island famous cheeseburgers and hot dogs. And I don't cheap out on the hot dogs. I get the all beef, really good hot dogs. So,
oh, man.
Travis Thompson just perked up wherever he is.
Travis, myself, and Stacy. We're going to have a little conservation meeting this morning.
Hey, you know what? Anybody's welcome to come by. I always have extra. So, I'm going to be, it's going to be closer to the little bridge on the south side of Caladisi, the causeway. So just look for a silver Mitsubishi SUV with a jet ski trailer. So with a Old Town kayak on it. And I'll have my flag. I've got the Bartow flag. It's got a kayaker with a shark piece in it. So
we'll let our nose lead the way.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll see you April 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. at OCC Roadhouse for that Real Animals fishing conversation. You going to make it up there to join us?
I saw that. I probably will. I put interest in it because that looks really good.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
I was at the banquet the other day at the Tampa 6a-8a banquet.
Nice.
And I saw Anderson there and a bunch of other captains, and Mahoney was there. So his wife Paula, I got to sit with Captain Sergio at times, and so it's going to be all good.
Good
It
stuff.
was a lot of fun. I love the 6a-8 banquets and what they do. Oh, and Lisa sat with me too, so that was cool.
Very cool, man. Well, I'm glad to hear you had fun, and I wish you good luck today. Hopefully you guys catch them up, brother. Good luck out there.
I appreciate you guys. Hey, take care, Thailand. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys. Take care.
See you, Donald.
See you, buddy. Always appreciate hearing from our buddy Donald. We also got Captain Mike Perry on the line, but we don't have a lot of time here, so I don't want to cut you short, Mike. Hopefully you can hang on till the other side. Hopefully we'll hear from you as well. Remember, if you want to join the conversation, 1-800-969-9352 for fishing reports, fishing questions. You just want to say hello, you can give us a shout at that line. And we're excited. It's an exciting time of year, transitioning from those cooler weather patterns to the warmer weather patterns. A lot of those cold-tolerant species still biting really well. The redfish, I mean, normally they get a little soft in spring, right? They get a little more spread out. They get a little trickier. I mean, you have that peak redfish time, like September, October, November, fall everybody talks about. And winter, you still can pick through them pretty good. But normally this time of year, I thought they get a little trickier, but it just hasn't happened, it seems like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, of course, everybody knows about the fall, schooling redfish.
Mm-hmm.
If I claimed to be an expert redfish fisherman, I'd be lying.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, typically, if I'm not on a school, then redfish just happen to bycatch.
Yeah. And it's an interesting time. Snook starting to pour out. It's we're on the doorstep of that snooky time of year, so we're looking forward to that as well, especially in John's Pass there. Hopefully you guys will stay tuned. We'll be right back for more Real Animals Radio. Don't go anywhere.
That's funny, man. I don't know if it's because of like the whole tournament mentality or what, but like everybody goes crazy about redfish fishing, and I'm just like,
The Watts brothers. I forget which Watts brothers was on with Mike.
The one that looks like the other one.
I didn't hear his name, so I don't want to pretend to know. But one of the Watts brothers was on with Mike Mahoney. I think it was last week or the week before, and John Oliverio from Power Pole. And they were talking about Power Pole, obviously, but Mahoney was also talking about red fishing. And whichever Watts brothers was on the show said that redfish, to him, were overrated. Like, he was always more focused on catching other things.
Yeah.
Redfish are easy to catch.
Yeah.
I was like, huh.
Maybe
for you.
Coming from, like, literally the best to ever do it.
Yeah, right. It was pretty funny. It's like you don't hear that much from other people.
Yeah.
Redfish are easy to catch.
Dude, it's funny. Like, I was talking to them years and years and years ago. Gosh, I mean, at this point, it had to be, I think it was before Anna, so like 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, talking to them, and they're like, yeah, man, they're telling about, a tournament that they're fishing down in Charlotte Harbor and blah, 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 whatever. Like, yeah, we knew we were on fish, but like, they, we knew what size they were. We knew they were the perfect 2-slot fish, but we knew like there wasn't a lot of fish, and we knew they would only bite for like a 45-minute tidal window. But we swung for the fence, so we just drove to that spot, staked out, sat there, ate sandwiches, drank water. Like, for most of the time, didn't even have a rod in our hand. Like, literally just like sat in the spot, And then once the tide got right, we started fishing. Sure enough, we caught our 2 fish. Went back to to the weigh-in, won the tournament. Like, talk about like knowing your knowing your trade.
Yeah.
Like that's just impressive.
Gambling.
But when you're tournament fishing, you're fishing for 2 fish. You don't care about going and catching 50. Like, you want 2.
2 big dogs.
You want 2 of the right ones.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Just like those dudes make those long runs, man. I mean, I've got a bunch of buddies. I've only fished a few redfish tournaments, but I got a bunch of buddies that have either launched in Charlotte Harbor, ran up here and caught their 2 fish and ran back, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And then I've heard stories of dudes like Fort Walton or Pensacola, whatever, one of those up in the Panhandle, running not to Louisiana, not to like Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, running to Texas, and then coming back to the Panhandle.
What?
Yeah. And it's like a 3-hour boat ride and a 3-hour boat ride and like a hour to fish once you get there. There was one I was reading. It may have been a Florida Sportsman years ago or something, but it was an article about the run the guy made, and because he ended up winning, he had to make a fuel stop on the way back. So, like, through his practice rounds, it was no big deal. When he's coming back for tournament time, he comes back to his fuel stop. There was like a barge that was fueling up at the fuel dock. And he's like, I can't sit here and wait. I don't have time to wait. He walked up and asked, he's like, yo, dude, here's $100 cash. He's like, do you mind just like stopping? Like, just let me fuel up and then you can resume. He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So he topped off his boat, got back in it, and, came back.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Isn't it?
Tournament fishing is an interesting game, man.
No thanks, dude. Like, I fish tarpon tournaments, but it's just like our tarpon fishing is like gentleman fishing. Mm-hmm. It's like laid back, like
yacht wear,
relaxed. The actual angler can literally sit there with their feet propped up, like the captain does all the work, like it's easy, man.
Different style of fishing.
Putt out at 15 to 18 knots, idle while you fish, and putt back.
Putt. Oh, Mike Mesro's awake. Nice.
Is that where the shoot is?
Yeah. That's where Anderson's going today.
I can never stop building stuff. I wanna get out there and shoot some.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I do in Lakeland at Tenor Rock, because Tenor Rock's got sporting clays.
Yeah.
So we shoot there often-ish.
Yeah.
But I've never been to.
Dude, Tampa Bay Sporting Clays is awesome.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
There's so many. Like, when I was there last, there was like 4 or 5 courses, but I think there's like 7, 8, 9 of them now.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. And yeah, they can have a huge event going on with like 400 shooters, and they're still open courses to the public.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's wild. Yeah, you just pull up, get on a golf cart, they hand you a gun, and you just go from station to station to station. It's so much fun.
I'm slightly better than average, but I struggle with the rabbits, the ones that are bouncing on the ground.
Those are the hard ones.
Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
We're back, Bartow for Real Animals Radio, talking fishing this morning. Myself, Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina. We also got Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters and Studios this morning. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Relentless Perpetual Edge Knives, the world's first self-sharpening knife that sharpens as it cuts. The ultra-hard carbide, never rust titanium blade with a true grit glass reinforced ABS handle on a knife that is perfectly balanced and comes in 5 great models to choose from. Take the work out of filleting a pile of fish and get a Relentless knife today. Go to relentlessknivesusa.com to find out for yourself why this is the knife all the pros are talking about. We've got Capt Mike Perry on the line. We also have Mike Mesra from Tampa Bay Sporting Clays. We'll get to Capt Mike and then over to Mike Mesra shortly thereafter. Hopefully we'll hear from you guys as well. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. What's going on, Capt Mike? How are you, buddy?
Hey, man.
Hey, Dylan, Bobby, how you doing?
Good,
Doing
buddy.
well, brother. Another day in paradise. How about you?
Living the dream here in the Florida Keys.
Yeah, sounds about right. Is that fire died down yet?
Yeah, they're letting cars through, but boy, it was nice. The islands weren't filling up.
They were cut
It
off.
was bad. I lost a few charters. People flying into Miami. A lot of the clients that I get from the states out west, they'll fly to Miami and they'll do their rental car there in Miami and then drive through the Keys because they stay a week to 10 days and hit all the Keys and stuff like that. So
You got to hop that contender up on plane and go pick them up, dude.
Hey, buddy, listen. I have my distance limits for pickup. Key
That's a
West,
good one.
to the south, obviously, and I'll go up to the middle of the north, the Marathon. But that's as far north and south for pickups as I'll go. But they weren't making it out of Homestead. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some, one of my staff members was down there with her daughter and her daughter's friends when that whole thing kicked off.
Yeah.
And she had to adjust airlines and instead of flying out of Miami, flew out of Key West on Silver. And then another part of their group took the Key West Express ferry boat to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty interesting.
They gave really good rates if you were stuck down there. They knocked some money off and got people out of there. A lot of the local charter planes that fly in and out of Marathon, that's not a big commercial airport, but it does fly your private planes, and they gave a lot of good rates for one way to get them back to Miami, Tampa, those type of airports to get them so they could get home.
That's awesome.
But the fishing's been fantastic. We raised 2 marlin yesterday.
Whoa.
Trolling. We had one on, got 3 or 4 jumps. I'm waiting for the pictures. One of the clients' wives got some really good shots, and she's going to send them to me.
Yeah, you gotta text those to me. I want to see that.
The other one was just he kept whacking the bait with his bill and just wouldn't commit to it. And he or she followed for a long time. A good quarter of a mile, kept coming up and just wouldn't take it. I did everything, kept dropping it back. I had several hundred yards of line by the time we decided the fish wasn't going to commit to the bait. But the wahoo fishing is really good right now.
Awesome.
Blackfin tuna. I hear reports offshore, really way offshore towards Bahamian waters, that there's yellowfin. Saw a couple come in on a couple of the big 2 and 3 day boats that go out. The guys that run the Hatteras type boats and everything. So
that's awesome.
Really good offshore fishing, and of course the bottom fishing, the snappers. Plenty of red grouper. We don't get the gags in the Atlantic as well as the Gulf does, but we're seeing some gags. So when it's time for gag season, they'll have their shots, and the black carbo grouper are coming in too. So there's definitely a little bit of everything, and it's been real good fishing. And the weather has been cooperating. The wind blows one way, and then it blows another, and we just kind of
keep shifting and moving.
Yeah, that's all I can say. It goes this way, then that way, and I'm like, if you got your sea legs and you prepped right, you should be okay. So we've been doing real well.
Awesome,
real
brother.
well.
Well, we appreciate it. How would someone call you to book a trip down there?
813-434-8086, Captain Michael 47gmail.com, or just simply call 1-866-GAMEFISH, and Michael definitely shoot our way. And real quick special thanks to George over there at Relentless Knives. He did me a real gave me a really, really good deal. I got Rick Gross has been wanting one of those knives and just hadn't gotten around to getting it. And I got one since he's my mentor and the guy who's taught me a lot. I got him one sent. I asked him, did he use it? And here's the words. I got to get used to this thing.
You got to be careful.
It'll cut you if you look at it.
Yeah, first couple times, it's definitely a different animal for sure. It's a beautiful knife.
Yeah, and he learned that too, cleaning fish.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
anyway, guys, have a great day. Stay safe. Tight lines from the Florida Keys.
All right, see you, buddy.
Always a pleasure to hear from our buddy, Capt Mike Perry, down there in Big Pine Key. We've got Mike Mesra from Tampa Bay Sporting Clays on the line now. What's going on, Mike? How are you, buddy?
Hey, Captains, Dylan and Bobby. Thanks for keeping an eye on Dylan today, Bobby. Some oversight.
Yeah, someone's got to be here.
Yeah, Daddy's gone, so I'm stepping in.
Exactly. Hey, is it just me or the guys in the Keys just so laid back? I think we need some of that here.
Yeah, they live on island time. It's a little different than Hillsborough and Pinellas County.
Everything's just a notch down. It's like, we'll just get to it when we get to it. It's great.
There's a fire blocking our path to society in mainland. It's all good. We're just going to chill here.
Yeah, he gave the positive spin on, it's less crowded. What the heck? I love it. I love it. No, man, thank you guys for all you do. Headed up to go see your buddy today.
Yes, sir.
For the children's home shoot, I'll keep him out of trouble and do my best. We'll try to spark that crowd a little bit. But I'm looking forward to the shoot. The day is going to be great. Children's homes have been going on for, 30-plus years.
Yeah, that's
a shoot. So,
big,
I don't even know the number that they've collected on it, but it's big.
Big charity day up there at Tampa Bay Sporting Clays, the children's home shoot. That's where Capt Mike Anderson is today. And definitely looking forward to seeing all the great photos and hearing all the great stories. It'll be a good time for sure.
I want to hear how much better Beth shoots than Mike does.
She shoots better and fishes better. And looks better.
Mike claims he claims that he's a better shoot, but Beth's a lot better than he is, as I can attest to.
Yeah.
There.
If you watch the show, she always catches bigger fish too.
Yeah.
always. Yeah, everything's good. I'm actually going fishing in Homosassa on Wednesday. I'll give you guys an update next week. I'm going to go fish with Captain Stump and do a little shore lunch after.
Ooh.
And oh my gosh, so good. I just can't wait. Hopefully the weather cooperates. I just got in from out of town, and it was blowing yesterday. Hopefully this settles down a little bit over the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's up and down this week, but there's a few really nice days, and hopefully that'll continue to hold true for us, and we'll get those weather windows, and you'll be able to take advantage of it up there. But nothing beats a hook and cook for sure.
Yep.
I agree. I like that saying. The old Homosassa stuff with the way they used to oar out, and the guy makes bacon and cooks your fish on an island. It's really a treat.
And
so I'll
hush
give you guys
puppies.
an update next week.
Yeah, you had me at bacon.
Exactly. Hey, guys, thank you for everything you do. Thanks for all your hard work, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
See you, Mike. Thanks, buddy. Awesome to hear, for sure. Remember, if you want to join the show, 1-800-969-9352. If you have a fishing report, fishing question, just want to say hello, whatever it is, give us a shout, 1-800-969-9352. Yeah, exciting stuff, man. Things are happening. It's going to be a little breezy today, but it's going to calm down first part of the work week on the backside of that new moon. One of my favorite parts of the new moon when I was younger, fishing inshore a lot from the skiff, man, new moon dock light fishing.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I told the story, but probably about a year ago now, I was talking on Fox 13 about that, how the new moon dock light fishing was so good, and I got a phone call from a sheriff deputy. I don't know if it was a sheriff deputy, actually. I don't know. He was in law enforcement, and he owned a home on the water, and he wanted me to emphasize that you have to be respectful of homeowners when you go up to dock light fish, and I had to play that one carefully.
Yeah.
Because as an angler who dock light fished at a young age for a long time, it goes both ways, right?
100%.
Yeah, homeowner has to be respectful of fishermen too.
Yes.
You don't own the water.
So
you might own a dock on the water, but you don't own the water.
It's funny you bring this up. I saw a thing on social media just the other day. It was a clip from Mike Iaconelli, the bass, professional bass angler.
Yeah.
and I don't know which lake he was on, but he was, flipping a dock. This lady comes out and she's, kind of like, hey, you can't fish here, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, ma'am, like respectfully, yes, I can, And so he was very calm, very polite, very professional. He's like, but look, he's like, if it's bothering you, and it wasn't a tournament, he was just, just scouting or whatever. He's like, if it's bothering you, I'll just move on. Like, I don't have to, but I will. Like, it's fine. So he moves down to the next dock, and she starts yelling at him again. And she's like, hey, this is he's like, well, you said that was your dock. Like, and I moved. Like, and so she starts giving him, a bunch of lip. And he's like, well, I was going to move, but now I'm not.
Now I'm camped.
Yeah, he's like, now I'm not moving. And she's like, he's like, call the cops. So they go in this back and forth, whatever. But yes, it's definitely a two-way street.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to deal with. I aspire to eventually own a home on the water, and I look forward to a big light display behind the home and attracting all the fish. And watching people fish from behind the house seems like a good time.
Yeah.
You're going to have to remove some lures and stuff like that occasionally, but
that was
what it is.
That was the thing, too. She's like, well, we don't like hooks and stuff. And he's like, ma'am, I don't know if you know who I am, but I am really, really good at this.
There won't be a hook on your dock.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's all part of the game. But this time of year, dock light fishing, or not this time of year, but this time of the month when you have the new moon going, no moonlight out there, those artificial light sources, it really concentrates the bait. Around Johns Pass, the bridge gets loaded down with trout.
Yep.
Sand Key Bridge, any of those bridge. Blinds Pass is one of my favorite haunts on a new moon at night, man. Those lights. I've caught cobia under there. I've caught big snook. It was always a good time.
And understand if you're listening and have not done this, but you want to, you don't have to be right in the light as well. Like those shadow lines create little kind of artificial ambush points, just like a oyster bar or, the backside of a piling or a mangrove tree would in a natural environment. Those shadow lines kind of create the same thing.
Yeah, at a young age, fishing dock lights, I think I was like maybe 9, 10, 12 years old, somewhere in that time frame. I've figured that out by just not being that good.
Happenstance.
Yeah, not being that good at casting. And you overcast the light. And man, it was one night we were fishing this one area in Blinds Pass. It was always my favorite area when the tide starts ripping through there. There's so much good flushing bait. There used to be a really good dock in there, but they kind of ruined it. But overcasting the light and the lure hits the seawall. Oh, really overcasting the light and dragging it off the seawall, off that riprap, where that riprap comes down. That's where the fish were sitting.
Yeah.
Huge snook, redfish, everything. It was inside the light, between the light and the seawall. It was that was the go point. It was always a good time. But dock light fishing's a lot of fun this time of year for sure. And around these new moons, it gets real good.
And as we get into summer, like the heat of summer as well, the shade from the dock, provides, that little comfort zone, and, fish don't have eyelids as well. So during the daytime even, they can hang out in that shade. But then, they're not going to go far at night as well. So, it's a good way to get out and beat the heat. And
beat the heat and enjoy some really solid concentrations of fish.
Yep.
Yeah. Full moon makes it a little bit trickier. I think they spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
But that new moon really concentrates them on that dock light. So good time to take advantage of it for sure. Plus, you can hide from the wind.
Yeah.
When it's blowing like that, dock light fishing.
Get up in those canals.
It's always a good time for sure. And in the canals right now, you might find some snook still. I mean, they're still tucked back pretty far. But they're starting to move, and we've seen some snook push out into like the islands around Johns Pass and stuff like that. Nothing in the pass yet, but I would imagine it's not too far away.
Yeah, well, I mean, keep in mind canals a general term. I mean, you've got canals in Upper Bay, or you've got canals in Johns Pass, Pasadena. So the fish are gonna move, but yeah, you can get in canals that are kind of in that transition zone. And you can have some really good days. And, they're going to move in within the canal as well. They may be back in the back part of the canal, or they may be out towards, the front of the canal where that current, is stronger. It just depends.
We got a few seconds
to figure it out.
We got a few seconds. We got to go to break. What lure are you throwing if you're going to a dock light?
Lure? Probably maybe like a Little John.
Yeah. I like
Little John.
I always loved the DOA shrimp or the mirror lure, like the
hard bait,
the twitch baits.
So old school Maverick Goldeneye, you cannot beat a Maverick Goldeneye.
There you go.
100%.
Not sure what that is. I'll have to Google it.
Ron's tackle box hat. Well, dadgummit, I shouldn't have shared that. I need to go get some. but Ron's got quite a few old stock there.
Okay, Maverick Goldeneye.
Yeah.
Get him at Ron's tackle box today before Bobby. All right, Real Animals Radio will be right back after this. Remember, give us a call, 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. We'll be right back.
Listening on the free iHeartRadio app. Thanks to Farrah and Farrah.
Didn't mean to let that one go, did you?
Your opinions directly to your favorite show. When you open the app, click the red talkback microphone and hit send. Farrah and Farrah, here to make it easy, Tampa.
Lexus invites you to experience the power of choice. From hybrid to plug-in hybrid to all-electric. Whichever Lexus electrified model you choose, it will undoubtedly feel amazing. It offers on select models at the Invitation to Lexus sales event, now through March 31st. See your Wesley Chapel, Tampa Bay, Clearwater, and Sarasota Lexus dealers.
It doesn't look like much. It's literally just a hard bait with a lip, but the action's got like a real tight wobble. So it's not like a big giant darting. It's just like a real tight wobble.
Gets them fired up.
And I've always been a fan. Mirror Lure changed years ago, but Mirror Lure used to have yellow eyes, golden eyes, and then they changed and went to red eyes. I've always been a fan of lures with golden eyes.
Are you showing the stream?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Benny Jr. with Bartow Ford. Everyone has heard me speak about going the wrong way.
If my technologically challenged stuff can figure this out.
The wrong way of doing business.
Bear with Bobby, guys.
It's coming, I promise.
Tactics you will never ever find at Bartow Ford. For over 73 years, we've been doing business the right way. So on your next purchase, don't go the wrong
Maverick
way.
Goldeneye.
Maverick Goldeneye.
And we prove it.
The tight wobble action is what Bobby likes.
And they have red eye versions as well. But just all your normal standard colors: silver black back, gold black back, chartreuse. Used to fish it down in the glades a lot too when I used to fish down there in the back country.
Brian Pugh said, don't listen to Captain Bobby with all this trash talk of the Maverick Goldeneye. They are trash. Worst lure ever. That's funny.
He knows what's up.
Morning, Stacy. How are you? What's up, Rick? We're back. Commercials seem really short this morning.
Yeah.
Presented by Hubbard's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and
Dylan Hubbard.
We're back. Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio, talking fishing this morning. I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Power Pucks, the world's first power supplied trolling motor quick release bracket. It eliminates the need for exterior power plugs, which can snag lines, corrode easily, and just be an eyesore cluttering up your deck. Go to PWRPUX.com and find out for yourself why so many of the pros are making the switch to Power Pucks. We talked a little bit about it earlier with old Donald Waberman, but hopefully you guys have in your calendars, in your schedules, marked down April 15th, Tuesday, April 15th. Captain Mike Anderson and myself will be over there at OCC Roadhouse, talking fishing for the Real Animals fishing conversation. It's free to get in, free to park. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have a Real Animal swag, some Hubbard's Marina swag, some Bull Bay rods to give away, some Ingle coolers to give away. It is going to be a good time. So Tuesday, April 15th from 7 to 9 p.m. We also have Seafood Fest going on this weekend around town. So if you're looking for something to do and a little too breezy to get on the water maybe, come out and join John's Pass Seafood Festival. And 10 out of 10 don't recommend driving there. If you can avoid driving to the pass, there is a free shuttle. If you go to the Madeira Beach Fundamental School, you can park there for free and take a free shuttle to the pass. So you avoid all the chaos of parking and all that deal, and it's a lot cheaper. If you do want to drive to the pass, it is not as terrible as I expected. As far as parking is concerned and traffic is concerned, you do want to approach it from the south. You can't, if you come from the north, you can't take a left into the pass. So you got to come from the south, and the parking garage is only $20 to park, which I thought was nice of Ben Mala and his team to do, because the dirt lot in the back, they're charging like $45 for 3 hours, and if you stay all day, it's like $80-some for parking. Yeah. And there's no explanation of that. It's like one of those things you pull in and then find out how much it is. And once you battle traffic, you're not going to move.
Right.
So the parking garage is only $20. So I recommend, if you're going to drive down there, go in the parking garage. Or cheapest parking is going on a trip with us. It's only $7 all day.
There you go.
Yeah, I can't beat that. Or cheapest is taking the free shuttle.
Yeah.
If it's free, it's for me, right?
And I'll say from personal experience, leave your long bed pickups at home.
Yeah.
It's a little tight in there.
It's not conducive to big trucks, for sure, especially on event days. That's why as soon as I leave here, I'm going to go right there before it gets busy.
Yeah.
And coming out of there is not an easy feat when it's so packed, but it's definitely a good time. And we have the crawfish boil going on down at Don's Dock. So
nice.
Yeah, I can't beat some fresh crawfish. And this time we got them from New Orleans, and they're real good. Yeah. Today, Seafood Fest started yesterday at midday, but it's all day today and all day tomorrow. And the crawfish boil is only $15. You get a big old plate of crawfish and sausage and everything else.
Mention that to my Cajun queen.
There you go. Come on down. You got to taste test it for us. Yeah, let us know how we did. But, yeah, there's a lot of vendors and a lot of cool stuff going on inside the pass for sure, but a little chaotic. So definitely take the free shuttle and avoid it. That's the best way to do it for sure. But a good day to get out there on the water if you can avoid that wind. The wind is going to die off around midday today. This afternoon looks like we'll get a nice little weather window, but still be a little bumpy offshore. But if you're inshore fishing, hide from the wind this morning, and things will calm down this afternoon for you. Got some really good tides with this new moon. Yeah, I mean, all the way through the weekend into the coming work week, at least the first start. Tides start to slow down a little bit Wednesday, but it's exciting with the mackerel running, the sheep's head, everything's biting, basically. Yep. The pompano have been a little soft. Normally, we start to get them pretty good off the jetties already in March. I wouldn't say we're getting them pretty good, but people who know what they're doing are getting them. It's just very few and far between, like those perfect windows you got to fight for.
Right.
Yeah, but exciting stuff. Plus, we got tarpon around the corner. What are you doing to gear up for tarpon season?
Nothing. I'm geared up.
You're already ready.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of mentioned earlier. I mean, I start, calling, emailing, booking trips around Christmas time, and shortly thereafter is when I start, getting tackle ready, going through my tackle room, taking inventory, placing orders. I order everything in bulk, so line, leader, hooks, sinkers, and just keep it all stocked. So fortunately, there's not a whole lot to do to get ready. Just boat maintenance, that kind of stuff.
Going through the motions.
Right.
I gotcha.
It's no secret that right now my boat's torn apart, so I do have a loaner boat to use this year. But generally speaking, it would just be make sure the boat's all ship shape and ready to go, and go do it, man.
Yeah, get after it.
Yeah,
that's it. Well, hopefully we'll hear from you guys as well. Remember, if you want to join the show, if you have a fishing question, just want to say hello, you have a fishing report for us, whatever it is, give us a call, 1-800-969-9352. Real Animals Radio will be right back after this.
I was looking at the tides, I don't know, yesterday or whatever, and we're finally getting some negative tides, afternoon negative lows.
That's good for...
That's really good for the tarpon. Because, that's what makes your flush,
Yeah.
WFLA Tampa, WXTB HD2 Clearwater. This is News Radio, WFLA. Never sounded so good.
It was funny when Josh and I went a couple weeks back. We get down there and we get there towards the last on the tail end of the outgoing, and the water temp was like 71 and change, and we got 3 like right off the bat. And the surface activity over, they were popping, they were rolling, they were tail slapping, they were happy. And then that tide stopped. slack for just a little, and then as soon as it turned and started coming in, like the water temp dropped. Like literally, you see it on the screen. Water temp dropped about 1.5 degrees.
Shut them down.
Just shut them down. Absolutely shut them down. I was like, all right, well, it's 12:30 a.m. Like we still gotta load the boat, drive home, do this. I'm like, why don't we just call it? Yeah, we only fished like 2.5 hours, but
1.5 degrees was enough to shut them down.
yeah, because it's still early,
Yeah.
Like if it were May and the temp changes of 1.5 degrees, they're not, it's not gonna make a difference.
But
Because
1.5 degrees in the upper 70s.
bingo.
Yeah.
If it goes from 77 to 75,
They don't care.
who cares?
But if it goes from
71 to 69.
it's a big change.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He then fled the scene and was arrested later in Kissimmee. He is now being held without bond. A 12-year-old
crazy.
student in Lehigh Acres was arrested on Thursday for threatening to plant bombs around the school. Deputies say the student had drawn a map of the campus indicating where he would place the bombs, as well as a written manifesto declaring his intention to commit violent acts.
My junior year of high school, we had what we call bomb week. We had a bomb threat every day for a week straight.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We think we know who it was. We think it was one of the guys a year above in his senior year.
We are looking at one incident right now.
So you got a week off of school?
No. So what they would take us out, like they'd get the threat, they'd take us out, evacuate the school, and we'd go out onto the practice football field and just bake in the sun until they come, they sweep, they check everything, and then we go back, and then we finish like the last half day of classes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so then rinse, repeat, the same. It's somebody ended up making these shirts. They called it Bong Week. It said I survived Bong Week because they're just like, oh fuck it, I'm not going back. I'm just gonna leave. So they get in their cars and go do whatever high school kids do.
Yeah.
So they called it Bong Week.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Will start to form around 2-3 o'clock this afternoon and linger into.
I remember those days. I don't know what it was. I think it was a gas leak at my high school, and they evacuated us for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, at some point, can our parents just come pick us up?
Can we just leave?
Like,
Right.
this is ridiculous. Sit out here in the sun all day. It turned into like field day. We started playing games as a school. The whole school's out there. But I mean, it was a small private high school, so when I say the whole school, there was like 300 people out there maybe. From pre-K to 12. It's pretty funny.
That's REECEwindows.com. ReeseWindows.com.
I had 27 people in my graduating class.
Really?
Yeah, and 18 of them went kindergarten through 12th with me.
Wow.
Yeah, those were nuts.
What school?
Keswick.
Is that around here?
Yeah, Seminole. Small school.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
I just saw yesterday a guy I went to high school with. I went to Lakeland High School, and I was there like during like the power years of football, 96 to 2000. Johnny Mack, who played football for us, he was running back. He signed with Dion out of Colorado, and he's I forget what his actual title is, like offensive analyst or something or whatever. But anyway, so he's
a Lakewood High grad.
Lakeland
High.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Regarding the rights of Venezuelan migrants deported to El Salvador that the Trump White House accused of belonging to gangs invading the U.S.
That emergency DOJ appeal to the Supreme Court comes
Well, I can't say we. I didn't play football, but they were number one football team, high school football team in the country, my freshman year and my senior year.
Dang.
One state championship my freshman year, senior year, undefeated. And then sophomore year, they lost in the state semifinals, the only game they lost all year. And then junior year, they also lost in the state semifinals, only game they lost all year. And that game, they actually won first. I think it was St. Tom. No, it was Rutherford. Kicked the field goal, missed it. Time ran out. We won the game, but there was an offensive penalty. They threw a flag, or defensive penalty. They threw a flag, put 1 second back on the clock, and moved them up 5 yards. Let them re-kick it. They kicked it, and beat us by 1 point. Those are good times.
That's wild.
Code violation case dismissed at Beer Can Island.
functions.
What was the code violation case?
I don't know. I think they built some structures out there, like some little temporary structures and stuff, like tiki huts and all that kind of crap. And
Stay until the appeal is resolved. Founder Elon Musk explaining what he's trying to do.
What we're talking about is just like being able to pass an audit. It will enable taxpayers to know where the money is going and know that their hard-earned tax dollars.
Elon Musk on Fox's special report with Brett Baer. President Trump looking to oppose tariffs on drug companies.
We'll be announcing it soon, but we have to bring pharmaceuticals, drugs and pharmaceuticals back into our country.
Hey, don't be messing with innocent income.
The commercial program paid for by Real Animals Radio. The opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the following program are not those of WFLA AM, its staff, management, or
iHeartMedia Incorporated. Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing, presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
We're back, Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio, talking fishing this morning. Captain Dylan Hubbard here in studio from Hubbard's Marina, along with Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters. And we've got Captain Jim Fogel from Coast Guard Auxiliary on the line with our Visit St. Pete Clearwater Safe Boating Tip of the Week. Good morning, Captain Jim. How are you, buddy?
Hey, great. Captain Dylan, Captain Bobby, you guys sounding good today.
Yes, morning. Fake it till you make it, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. This morning I want to talk for a minute about knowing your equipment.
Amen.
You know, every so often we'll buy a new boat or we'll trade boats or we'll borrow a boat or something like that, and it'll have equipment on it that we haven't used other than maybe turn the switch on or something.
Yeah.
About a year or so ago, one of our patrols was out in one of the real busy channels, and we came up on a boat, about a 40-footer actually, cruiser. Guys were waving and yelling for help. So we approached the boat and asked them what the problem was, and they happened to be drifting toward the Meisner at the time. And they said, we lost our power. We can't do anything. We said, well, get your anchor down. Well, no, we have a windlass. We can't get it down. Okay, guys, there's an example right there. All windlasses come with, or should come with, a hand crank.
Mm-hmm.
There's a star. I think it's usually a star or octagonal shaped place up there on that winch where you can put that wrench in there, and you can back it off and drop that anchor down. There's a perfect example of somebody that had a boat and never bothered to go through the whole boat back to front and make sure they understood what was going on and how to do it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? This is a common one too. Somebody will be going along, they'll hit bottom, and they'll knock off the through hull.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? How are you going to stop that water from pouring through there? You got to know how to close that thing off.
Yeah.
And you got to close it off with your hand most of the time. So it's not like you can not use it for 5 years and expect to just grab it and turn it off.
Yeah.
So you've got to pay attention to your equipment. I was with a guy, not too long ago, and I thought he knew how to run his boat, and we came upon a big floating log that was obviously a danger. And he actually didn't really know how to call for assistance. I was embarrassed to be on the boat with the guy, and I was really upset with him when that happened. So you've got to pay attention to these things. You've got to use these things before you need them.
Yeah, I heard a story. I thought of you this week. I was talking to a guy, and he went out on a buddy's boat, and the buddy didn't use his boat offshore a lot. It was an offshore boat. I think it was like a 30, 31, 32, somewhere in that range. It was a bigger boat, but he used it mostly inshore, near shore, sandbar hopping, that kind of thing. Well, they decided to trailer it down to the Keys and go out to the humps, and they make a long run, choppy, bumpy conditions. They get out there and they start fishing. and dropping baits, and all of a sudden the one guy notices, hey, why is our bilge running nonstop? And they open up the hatches, and the whole bottom of the boat's filled with water. The choppy, bumpy ride out had knocked everything loose, and they were just seeping water in at stop. So they cranked it up, started moving, and luckily it stopped sinking as long as they were moving.
Right.
So they trolled and continued to fish. Yeah, but at least they were able to recognize that, and they had good situational awareness. But that speaks to what you're talking about, right? Knowing your boat. If you're doing something for the first time with your vessel that you don't normally do a lot, making sure that you're checking on things and stopping occasionally. I mean, if you're
100%.
in bumpy conditions, the boat hasn't been shook up very often or not in a while, it can.
No.
Bumpy conditions can shake a lot of things free that should be in place.
Absolutely. And having routines that you practice as well, like, you know, exercising your seacocks, like you mentioned, is just huge. Like, you know, you don't want to reach down there when you need to be able to close it and it's rusted shut, or I'm rusted open.
Yeah.
You know, like or the handle breaks off in your hand when you try to turn it.
And what I would also add to that is the Coast Guard makes us do that during inspections. So we actually have to remove the seacock and show the Coast Guard that it can not only turn, but it can also fully close.
Yeah.
And what we encounter a lot is that the seacock, you grab the handle, it's hand loose. Oh, yeah, it's fine. And then the Coast Guard comes and actually looks at it, and it might be hand loose and it might turn, but it doesn't all the way close.
Yeah.
It just closes mostly. So a lot of times that can happen, and we'll have to replace them for that reason. So you not only want to test them out, but you want to look at it.
And from a bilge pump perspective as well, you know, a lot of boats have like auto bilges with, you know, float switches and whatnot. I set mine up. I set mine up in multiple bilges, but I also always have at least one of them on a manual switch. It cannot be auto as well, but it also has a manual override, like a 3-way switch on the dash. And I have a pattern of every so often, an hour and a half, whatever, just, you know, in my mind, occasionally throughout the day, I reach up and hit the manual, turn around and look to see if I see anything coming out the side, you know, out the through hole, and then go ahead and turn it off and put it back in auto mode. I just do it. It's just routine.
Just to make sure that your auto one is actually still working.
Yeah, just to make sure the auto function of it didn't fail, and we actually are taking on water, and we just don't know it.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, the auto function is one of the functions that appears to fail fairly frequently, or it gets clogged up or something. I don't know
A little tiny piece of seaweed is all it takes to make that float switch fail.
Yep.
It happens a lot.
Yep.
It's definitely good to get in the habit of reaching down there, lifting it up, and making sure it still functions.
Also, something we found out the hard way a couple of years ago when our boat went down was keeping those life jackets all nice and piled up in there with, you know, nice and tight, snapped shut. Takes another extra 30 seconds to get them unsnapped and over your head and around your body.
Yep.
Excuse me. And sometimes you ain't got that 30 seconds. So make sure you know how to get them on. Make sure that it's unsnapped and readily available to put on, or unzip, whichever type you're using.
That's a great point.
Right,
I know, Captain. He has his numbered, his PFD's numbered, with like a Sharpie. Yeah. And part of his pre-departure, you know, safety talk, he has the people actually put them on, adjust the strap, make sure it fits. Okay, sir, you're number 1, you're number 2, you're number 3, you're number 4. You know,
that's serious.
And then he takes them off and puts them back.
Form fitted right there. Good job.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Good job. Excellent idea.
Well, we appreciate it.
All right, guys, I'll let you go. I know you probably got some more callers on the line. For the Coast Guard Auxiliary in St. Pete, Jim Fogel. Be safe out there.
You're the man. Thank you, Captain Jim. Always appreciate our safe boating tip of the week, brought to you by our friends at Visit St. Pete Clearwater. We also got Erica Almond on the line from Suncoast Kingfish Classic. How are you doing this morning, Erica?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Doing great.
Another Saturday in paradise. Looking forward to an upcoming event. You guys got a good one lined up, huh?
Yes, we've got the Fish Classic April 10th through the 12th over at Sky Beach Hotel and Marina.
Nice.
They have been doing a killer job, like renovating that whole place. I don't know if you've seen it since it's not the Magnuson anymore.
Yeah, I was just about to ask what's Sky Beach, but now that makes sense. So the Magnuson closed, and that's what it is now. Okay.
They've got the resort feel. We will have like a full captain's dinner for everybody who's participating in the tournament with like flank steak with demi-glaze sauce. Like they're doing it up for us for sure. And tequila tastings on Friday.
Sold.
And then obviously the big tournament. Yeah. It's going to be a really great event. I'm super excited about our new venue. But yes, it's going to be the Suncoast Kingfish Classic. April 10th is the captain's party, and then the 11th we're doing a trivia night, and then the 12th is the weigh-in and fishing day.
Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a good time. And the Magnuson was a great location for tournaments. It was so well located, right, and easy to drive there, easy to get there. Plenty of boat space, so it's cool to see that it's gotten a nice facelift and upgrade. I'm sure it's looking pretty cool over there.
That's exactly it, and we're going to have things because, our tournaments are always family-oriented and team-driven, so we're going to have a swimming pool all blocked off just for our tournament. So if you want to come with your kids, you can get like a little day pass. They can swim and play, whatever.
That's awesome.
There's the beach right there, the marina. It's a great little spot for sure.
Awesome. Is there still open slots? Can you sign up for the tournament?
Absolutely. So if you go to suncoastclassicevents.com, you can sign up and get early registration before that closes. We are going to close that down April 8th. And then after that, you'll have to sign up at the captain's party.
Awesome. Well, the captain's party, the weigh-in, all that's open to the public too?
Yes, sir. It's going to be, we've got music, we've got all sorts of stuff planned. So it's going to be a great event, and it's open to the public, and it's for free. It's going to be a good time. I'm super excited.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate you calling and telling us about it this morning, and look forward to hearing more next week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Anytime, Erica. You have a great day, and tight lines. That's going to be exciting. Suncoast Kingfish Classic at Sky Beach.
Flank steak, tequila.
Yeah, sounds fun. And swimming pool. Yeah, a nice big steak.
Might need to just
floating around in the pool.
Forego the fishing.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm in. Definitely sign me up. And we also have that great event coming up Tuesday, April 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. at OCC Roadhouse. Speaking of good food and good times, that real animals fishing conversation will be a good time. Are you coming over for that?
I might have to.
He's going to try.
I've been wanting to make it to the OCC and have not done so. So
me too.
Now I have a good excuse.
So much. Yeah, it's definitely been exciting to have an event lined up there. I've been meaning to make it out there. They do a truck night. The place I get my truck, all the stuff done to my truck, TTP, Tony's Total Performance, great guys over there, do really good work. And my truck is like a baby truck to them. I mean, they do show trucks. It's crazy the stuff they do. And they have a truck night that they work with OCC to put on. And man, I've seen some of the photos for that. I've aspired to make it over there for truck night for so many years. So
just take your wife's car though, so you're not embarrassed.
I probably
showing up in your Tonka truck.
Yeah, mine's like an F-150 compared to those trucks. It's wild, man. But yeah, definitely a cool location. They have so many events over there at OCC Roadhouse. So we're blessed to be able to join rotation, and I believe this will be every third Tuesday of every month moving forward. But Capt Mike will be back next week, and he'll confirm that, and we're definitely looking forward to it. So exciting stuff. Tuesday, April 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. Join us, free to park, free to get in, lots of free stuff to win, plus myself, Capt Mike Anderson, and I'm sure some of our guests will be talking fishing and answering your questions as well. With that, we got to take a break, but we're going to be right back after this. Give us a call, 1-800-969-9352 if you want to join the conversation. Real Animals Radio will be right back.
If you've been thinking about selling your home, now is the time.
Sure, it's every third Tuesday of every month moving forward.
Sell your home fast and for more than you expect.
That'd be cool because the Bartow 4 one was what, like every other month, I think?
Being able to control the timing.
Something like that.
Every other month, yeah.
Receive an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days, hassle-free, guaranteed. No showing.
Justin said, can I just put my kingfish spread out from the pool and just fish the tournament from the beach with flank steak?
For real, man.
That's funny.
Mark Spain Real Estate sold my home within 30 days. We received 4 offers.
Stacy said she needs to book a tarpon trip for her nephew. Book it this week.
Holler at your boy.
Yeah. Shanna Schultz said, how's the morning look for fishing? A little breezy this morning, but going to calm down this afternoon a little bit. And looks a lot better this afternoon, for sure.
Lexus invites you to experience.
Doesn't OCC have like 97 TVs or something?
It's crazy in there. Yeah, I've heard of nothing but good things. We have a couple staff members that work with us that used to work there.
Yeah.
And they have nothing but great things to say about how good the food was and how cool the place is.
Where's it at?
It's on 49th Street, a little north of Ulmerton. I forget what crossroad, but it's very central Pinellas County.
Yeah.
It's the main guy, Overton, was telling Anderson that it's like 10 minutes from the airport.
Oh, wow.
So you can get from Tampa there very easily.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's basically 30 minutes from anywhere you are in Pinellas County or less,
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
657-8818 or look them up online at brandonac.net and find out for yourself why Ace Heating and Cooling is the easy choice for the Real Animals Fishing team.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com. Show the coupon at the pharmacy and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription,
Next break, I gotta go pee.
to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to
These halfway ones have been a little hard to time. So I don't want to risk it, but the 731 should be solid enough.
King of Spring, Daniel Jeremiah. He requires me to say that. We're going to be bringing you
Morning, Lance.
the only podcast you'll need this NFL draft season. From DJ's mock drafts to my top 101 free agents, we'll have it covered for you with all new episodes every Thursday, keeping you up to date as we head.
Ronnie said OCC is on 49th Street, just east of 19.
Network iHeart. Follow 40s and free agents and start listening on the free iHeart radio
But that doesn't tell us the cross street, though, Ronnie.
Oh, wow. Travis got some sort of award last night.
Yeah, at the dinner.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he invited me over there for it. I just couldn't make it happen with Seafood Fest and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're back, Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio, talking fishing this morning, and hopefully we'll hear from you. Remember, 1-800-969-9352 to join the conversation. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Affordable Roofing Systems. Whether you need a shingle, metal tile, or a flat roof, our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems are your safest choice for repairs or replacements. With over 3 decades of roofing experience, let the Affordable Roofing Systems team guide you through this important process. They are defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and they have a professional approach to doing business. Call 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate or visit them online at affordableroofingflorida.com. Good people for sure. Great time. So we are talking about OCC Roadhouse coming up. It is 3 blocks south of 110th Avenue. We finally got someone to respond to that one. So 3 blocks south of 110th Avenue on 49th Street. Again, Tuesday night, April 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. Going to be a good time. Real Animals Fishing Conversation. Pinellas County has resumed, finally.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bartow Ford is awesome. We love Bartow Ford. We're going back to Bartow Ford hopefully very soon. But for those of us,
because it's so close.
Exactly. For those of us in Pinellas County, this one's a little closer. Yeah. For people who live in Imperial Polk County, Bartow Ford is obviously
God's country.
the choice. Yeah, whatever. But what I'm saying is now you have the option, right? You'll have both sides of the bay covered, and you'll be able to go to both, go to one, whatever's closer to you, whatever's more convenient. So exciting stuff that the Real Animals Fishing Conversation is
Equal
expanding.
opportunity fishermen.
Exactly. We try to take care of everybody. Try to do the best we can, right? Yeah. And speaking of taking care of everybody, the fishing has been taking care of everybody lately. I would say the mangrove snapper bite near shore has been incredibly impressive. hogfish bite slowed down a little bit for us, and because of that, we've been fishing a little deeper, so we're giving the hogfish a little bit of a break. Normally near shore, when we're targeting those hogfish, we're fishing like 30, 40, 50 foot of water. Right now, we're fishing more frequently around that like 60, 70, 80, up to 90 foot of water because it gives us a little better chance for the red grouper. We're seeing more of those lane snapper. We're still getting a chance for the hogfish, still catching some hogfish, and the mangrove snapper have just been impressive as of late. So near shore fishing's exciting. Offshore, we've been doing well in the red grouper, still catching some nice mangroves, the triggerfish, all that good stuff. But with that deep water closure ending, giving us more flexibility to fish deeper more often, we should do even better on yellowtails. The muttons should pick back up. The pelagic bite should be more prolific. So it's an exciting time near shore and offshore. And then, as you said, inshore, I mean, tarpon around the corner. There's even tarpon showing up.
100%.
Captain Will on our show last week, he was on our live show, and he said coming in from the 39 hour, they spotted a nice pod off the beach on some bait. So it's cool to see so much action, so much life inshore, near shore, and off. And with this new moon this weekend, water should be flowing. Things are exciting. This has been my favorite time of year when the wind stops.
Yep. I like spring and fall. I like
spring and fall for sure.
I like fall because like cooler weather. I hate hot weather. Born and raised here in Florida. I hate walking from my back.
I love it.
I hate walking from my back door to my truck
excited.
and being drenched in sweat.
Love it. When I wake up at 4 a.m. and you're walking out to the truck
and you can't breathe,
and the 100 feet between the front door and the truck gets that back sweat rolling. It's a good day, Tater.
So that's why I like fall, because obviously the fishing's good, but then, you know, we're anticipating the cooler weather, but there is no tarpon fishing. Like it's tarpon feast season is ending. You know, we do have that late season into, you know, September, October, sometimes November. But spring's awesome because again, it's that transition, but then it's like, okay, it's transitioning into tarpon, which, you know, is my personal addiction.
Exactly. I like fall a little bit better too. I mean, transitions and periods are definitely my favorite. So spring and fall are awesome, but I like fall a little bit better just from the aspect of there's a little less people around too.
Yeah.
So a lot lighter loads, more flexibility. It's for me, it's also that time of year is when we're planning the next year. That's where we're building schedules. We're getting our regulars club renewals lined up, doing our company Christmas parties, all that good stuff, and planning and forecasting for the next year. So it's just an exciting time for so many reasons.
Let me ask you this from an offshore, you know, standpoint. Inshore, it's a lot of the same crossover. So like typically for me, a good spring spot's a good fall spot, or vice versa. Because again, it's transition. You know, snooker moving in, snooker moving out. You know, redfish this, redfish that.
No.
Does not translate to offshore?
I don't. It probably does to a point, but what messes us up offshore is the way our fishery is structured, right? Everything is
like
seasonal.
Seasons?
Yeah, so in the spring, we're hunting red grouper and mangroves, and we have that deep water closure to contend with. In the fall, we're going to have, I mean, this year, the first week in September, potentially we could have everything in the Gulf open except for red grouper for a period of days. Because of that, our season structure, it really changes our mentality. What's open is what we're trying to target.
Of course,
right?
yeah, because, right.
And then if a gag grouper's open, you fish it differently than if you were fishing for red grouper.
So theoretically, if you had full open seasons, do you think from a fishing standpoint?
It would make sense, right? Water temperatures, all the things held true as spring and fall are very similar, right?
Right.
So it would make sense that they would be very similar.
Okay.
But all the fishing seasons open in a long time. I don't recall that, Bobby, so
Let's
I can't
see,
speak to
1910.
that. When I was a kid, I mean, when I was real young, it was definitely a different world. When my dad was my age, I mean, obviously it was a totally different world.
Right.
But it was also, I mean, there wasn't that many people doing it, right? I mean, when our family business started, we started with 7 rowboats and 14 cane poles.
Insane, man.
You know,
Insane.
And they were using sextants and counting how long they were running from shore. It wasn't until
and then that
the
evolved
40s.
to a heavy weighted bar of soap.
Yeah,
you know, like it's just.
It wasn't until like 45 that we had our first charter boat with an actual engine on it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then in 67 we started the long range offshore trips, and the 90s expanded upon that. So it's been interesting through the course of Hubbard's Marina, through the course of our area to watch the rise and innovation of technology. And technology has made it easier, provided more access. And, I mean, nowadays, it doesn't take much to get out there on the water. And, we are way behind schedule. We got to go. Real Animals Radio will be right back.
From the local Lexus dealers, WFLA News Desk. This is News Radio, WFLA.
Spoke at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office.
All good.
Urged the U.S. House of Representatives to approve the Federal Halt Fentanyl Act.
I'm proud of what we've accomplished in the Senate.
Shut up one way or another.
All right, I gotta go back.
The Halt Fentanyl Act puts all fentanyl-related substances on the federal drug schedules, making prosecution easier. A 12-year-old boy was struck by a vehicle in a crosswalk in Polk County at around daybreak Friday morning on State Road 60 at the intersection of 3rd Street. According to police, a vehicle driven by Ethan Hadlock was traveling east on State Road 60 and ran a red light before hitting the boy. The boy was flown to the hospital in critical condition. Authorities in St. Lucie County are investigating after a missing man was found dead in a gator-infested pond. 67-year-old Vincent Grosso was found dead about 45 feet from the shoreline. They say he was seen on Ring camera footage leaving his Savannah Lakes home after midnight. With Florida's News, I'm Tim Adkins.
Traffic is looking pretty good around the Tampa area roadways as we get further into the morning.
So congrats to our good buddy Captain Travis Thompson, who last night received an award for all of his hard work and dedication to conservation in the state of Florida, presented by Wildlife Florida, I believe. Yeah, presented by Wildlife Florida. So congrats, buddy.
Find out at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Carlson News Radio, WFLA.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone.
Saturday morning starts out with a rather cloudy sky, and temperatures will be mild. We start out the day across the Bay Area in the upper 60s, so probably not even needing a jacket. It will be warm and rather humid throughout the day. High temperatures will rise into the mid and upper 80s, but the big difference is we will see isolated to scattered showers and storms. They'll start to form.
So we can talk about this on air if you want, or not. But you're talking about innovation and how it evolved. In your opinion, if you had to pick one, like what's the most innovative tool, system, whatever, to come to fishing?
That's tough.
We can just say in your lifetime, like, I mean, because obviously, we don't need to compare it to sextants and rowboats, but like,
sharpens as it cuts. Ultra hard carbide, never lost titanium blade, and a true grit glass reinforced ABS handle on a knife that is.
I would say that the leading things that jump in head are the GPS trolling motors, the charts, and just outboard engine performance. The fact that outboard engines can perform and push the boats they do at the speeds they do and remain affordable, or at least somewhat affordable. Those are the three things that jump out most to me. As far as ranking one over the other, it's hard.
In my opinion, I would probably say side scan sonar.
Oh, that too. Yeah, I mean charts.
You
Charts
can
I
lump that
throw
in
in
there
there.
together,
The
right,
radar,
right.
the fact that you can be going 70 miles an hour and steal someone's fishing spot 50 miles away is nuts. The side scan, the bottom finding. Have you heard of the new one? Forget what it's called off the top of my head, but the guys in Texas, the Big Fish Texas guys, that show where the guys went out there and caught all those red snapper, those guys run it on their boat. And they'll literally leave the dock to go catch 50,000 pounds of red snapper without any GPS numbers. Like, they won't even bring a computer or a book with them because they have this radar system that they drop down in the water and they can see the fish swimming. I think it's up to like 100 yards or 150 yards. And they literally just look around and find a school and go there and destroy them. And then putz around until they find another school and destroy them. Like live, real time, crazy sonar.
Huh.
And it's the same systems that they've bill fishing teams before like a big marlin tournament will go out a week early, find a fish, and then follow that fish for a week, up to a week. And then when the tournament day happens, they throw a bait in the water. If he doesn't bite, they'll throw another bait in the water. If it doesn't bite, they'll throw another bait in the water until they can finally find the bait that the fish wants at the right time. And they know that fish is big enough to win the tournament. And they've literally followed and stalked that fish for days because the sonar's that good.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that, side scan, I mean, all those. type systems. I think it's called Orion or something. I forget.
Like, and of course the power.
But it's like live scope basically.
Right,
but
right.
live scope on a totally different level. I think it's like 140 grand. We're back, Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio, talking fishing this morning. Myself, Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina, Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters. And hopefully we'll hear from you as well. We got one big segment here. If you want to give us a shout, 1-800-969-9352. We'd love to hear from you. Want to also give a shout out to our friends at Relentless Perpetual Edge Knives, the world's first self-sharpening knife that sharpens as it cuts. Ultra-hard carbide, never rust titanium blade with a true grit glass reinforced ABS handle on a knife that is perfectly balanced and comes in 5 great models to choose from. Take the work out of filleting a pile of fish today and get a Relentless knife. Go to relentlessknivesusa.com to find out for yourself why this is the knife all the pros are talking about. So we were talking a little bit before the break about technology, and you asked me a good question, like what is the one thing that stands out to me technology-wise? And I think it's hard to pick one, man. Yeah. I mean, offshore game, you've got the GPS trolling motor. You've got the fact that the offshore waters have gotten so much more accessible to so many more people with, I mean, even bay boats, right? Like on a good day, you'll see so many boats out there. And when I was younger, 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, fishing on a 39-hour trip, when we'd be out there at night on a 39-hour, 70, 80, 90 miles from Johns Pass, it was rare you saw another boat. And if you did see another boat, 9 out of 10 times it was a commercial boat on a commercial trip, either steaming or coming or going from some other area. But nowadays, you go out there at night in summer on a nice day or a nice weekend, it is crazy the number of boats that you see out there. Yeah. And it's just exponentially increased the accessibility to people with boat innovation, motor technology, outboard engines. I mean, look at Yamaha. We're running 450s on the back of the Flying Hub 2. It's a 26,000-pound boat. And because it has hydrofoils, twin 450s can push that boat at 40 miles an hour. It's nuts. Yeah. Just boat and motor technology is just so far surpassed what they thought they could ever do, right? And then throw in that, the radars, the live scopes, the down scopes, the side scans, the GPS trolling motors, and then these chips nowadays, the Garmin relief shading. Garmin relief shading, I mean, it essentially, our 100-year history at Hubbard's Marina, right? One of the big things we had going for us is we knew where the fish are. We had the historical knowledge. These are the areas. These are the spots. And that Garmin relief shading comes out, man, and you've got all your numbers to all your hot spots laid out, and you overlay that chart on top of it. There's your hot spots. Yeah. All right, there for the public. And it's pretty wild how that's really changed the game. So if you got the money, you buy the boat, you buy the GPS trolling motor, you buy the chip with the chart in it, you got the down scan or side scan. I mean, there's not much left out to do it other than knowing when, where, how to get your baits to the bottom. But, I mean, YouTube can take care of that. All these silly people with radio shows and TV shows and live shows, I mean, they teach you how to do it if you're willing to do a little bit of research. So it's crazy. The technology has definitely changed the game, opened the access. Yeah, and that's what is always funny to me when people are like, well, 10 years ago, we used to be able to do this. And it's like 10 years ago, there wasn't 30,000 people in our area doing what we do, right? We used to be more of a niche, and we still are. I mean, offshore fishing definitely is still less than 1% of total angling population, but there's a lot more people doing it. And you go to a buffet and with 10 of your best friends, there's plenty of food at the buffet. You go to a buffet with 400 of your best friends, not much food left at the buffet. You know, everybody gets a smaller piece of the pie. What?
I said, especially my crowd.
Exactly. Friends with people like me, you're not going to get much food left there, Bobby. I remember in high school coming back from a football game, they took us to Golden Corral. We put that place out of business. It was wild. So, yeah, you don't get as when seasons get shorter, access shrinks. I mean, you got to think about the whole Gulf of Mexico and how many people are going up there to the buffet and think of a piece, a pie, right? Right. your slice of pie gets a lot smaller the more people that are trying to take a piece out of that pie. And there's a lot of people trying to eat the pie.
Yep.
It's the same way in Tampa Bay with snook, trout, redfish. I mean,
absolutely.
Look at the seasons there.
Yep. But yeah, so from an inshore perspective, with technology, you certainly have your spot lock trolling motors, power pole. I mean, the
power pole was a game changer.
Power pole totally changed the game. But when if I asked myself the question, if I had to pick one, I think it would be the advancements of the side scan sonar, because I mean, not to knock power pole. I mean, I love them. I use their products. You can still drop an anchor and anchor your boat.
You can, but not as accurately or as quickly.
Agreed, which is why I have one, and I love it. But you can still drop an anchor. The spot lock trolling motors, you can still, troll motor or drop an anchor. But to be able to see the bottom at the definition at which you can see with modern sonars, and then to be able to see the side, like away from the boat. We were talking about docklight fishing earlier. I've evolved over the years to really be able to read the side scan and just cruise a canal, like the middle of the canal, because you can look so far out to each side, you don't even have to cruise the edge, and you're like, okay, there's nothing there, there's nothing there, there's nothing. Okay, that dock's got them, and you just keep going. You just make mental notes of which docks are marking fish, spin around, come back. And that's when you drop your power pole or your spot lock trolling motor, and you go fish that dock, or bridge pilings, or just finding, rock piles that are, 200 feet off of where you thought they were. Just the side scan sonar has really.
One thing that we didn't mention and that helped me a lot inshore was also Google Maps and satellite photos.
Yeah.
The fact that
potholes, flats, oyster bars.
Once they came out with the ability on Google Maps to turn to orient your phone and know where you're looking.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't need a GPS on a small boat anymore.
Right.
Like I had a 17-foot skiff and I wanted a GPS really bad so I could log spots and know where these edges were and start marking these little oyster bars and sandbars. But they came out with Google Maps and you could orient your phone and know where you're looking. And then all of a sudden, in a small boat, no matter where you were, you didn't necessarily need a chart. You could have your phone out, watch the blue dot, know where you're looking, know where your bow of the boat is pointing, and you could orient yourself to that sandbar. Even if the water's milk brown, super dirty behind a cold front, you could still find that edge or still find that cut. So that was a huge innovation.
And trip planning, you're talking about, actually applying it on the water, but even from, sitting on your couch, the comfort of your home, you're like, oh, I'm going to a new area. Yeah. Oh, let me pull up Google Maps.
Have you ever gotten bored and just zoomed in on coastlines and looked around on Google Maps?
All the time.
It's so much fun. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
It's so much fun doing it in areas that I haven't been, that I'd like to go there someday, whatever. I like doing it in areas I've fished my whole life, and I'm like, oh, I never knew that was there.
Yeah.
I never knew that was there,
Have you checked out the Salt Strong Smart Fishing Spots app?
A little bit.
It's wild.
I need to spend more time on it.
Talk about technology.
It looked really cool.
I'm surprised it hasn't caught on more than it already has. I mean, obviously Salt Strong's huge. They're doing really well, but dude, you download that app and you start looking at it. It's exactly what we're talking about now. It's Google Maps, but then you can add layers.
Yeah.
So you can go satellite, you can go topographical, you can go, you can add where they literally shade the grass flats. They shade the oyster bars. They shade the reefs, the rock piles, the bridges. I mean, and then it will tell you if you're in a new area, you can literally pick out areas to fish. Like, hey, based on the wind, water temperature, weather, tide, this is where you want to fish. And you have this much out of 10 chance of catching a fish there. It's crazy.
That's really cool. And Joe and Luke are great guys. They give back to the community. They're, awesome dudes. I don't know if I like that.
I knew it was coming. It is literally a little unnerving. I'm like, I'm glad they're focused inshore. Let's keep these guys inshore. It is wild. No, they do a lot of offshore stuff too. And working with them back in the day, early on in Salt Strong, I was working more closely with them, and they've kind of given me access, and I've remained aligned with them just because they are such great guys and their business model is so good, and they're just nice people and doing it right. And every time they come out with something new or I see a new email, I'm always kind of keeping an eye out because it's really innovative what they're doing. Yeah, that Smart Fishing Spots app, I tell countless people a day in John's Pass, like, oh, I'm new to the area. I'm trying to learn where should I fish. I'm like, dude, download this app. I could tell you a few hot spots here and there, but if you want to know anywhere in the county that you want to go catch some fish, download that app. It's going to tell you.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I'm going to have to check it out again.
That's a technology innovation that hasn't caught fire yet, but when it does, that'll be another game changer inshore for sure.
Yeah.
It's wild for sure. Just a community of people too. I mean, Facebook groups, that's another big one.
Yep.
I mean, there's a Facebook group for literally anything. I texted you and Bobby the other day about that tortoise. My kids went in the front yard and found a tortoise in the front yard. You know there's a Facebook group for missing tortoises in Pinellas County? There's a Facebook group for everything, bro. It's crazy. And so, yeah, sure enough, there's a
That was a cool story.
Yeah.
You reunited, and what was it, like
they lost
like
it
4 miles away or something crazy?
Yeah, the family lost it, and it got out on Halloween night, so October 31st last year, 2024, and we found it, I think it was early March. So a couple weeks ago, we found it in our front yard, 4.5 miles from their home.
Wow.
But I still think I don't think that tortoise made it 4.5 miles by itself. I think someone must have found it, taken it to their house, and it probably got out from their house too. Apparently, tortoises escape a lot.
Oh, really?
There's like a lot of Facebook groups on it, and they post pretty often about lost tortoises.
Interesting.
So apparently, they're little escape artists.
Like goats.
Yeah, I guess.
Like goats get out all
Doesn't
the time.
seem like a turtle would be able to get away from you very fast. But apparently,
Come back, George.
I guess they can burrow. I don't know. It was an interesting foray into tortoise life history and travel. But yeah. So long story short, technology has definitely, I think, changed the game. Inshore, nearshore, offshore, it doesn't matter. It's been a wild innovation for sure. And I think people keep innovating, right?
Yeah.
And I think now there's innovation on the side of science, right? I mean, AI, the interim analysis, one of the big revolutionary things that happened recently is Doge came into NOAA and they fired almost 10%. I think it was like 7.8% of the staff, like 800 people.
Were they the wind and wave predictors?
They don't do a good job of that for sure, but I don't think anybody does. But long story short, they fired like 800 people. That was the headline. But if you look, that's less than 10% of the staff, 800 people.
Yeah.
And in our region, in the Southeast, it was 15 people from the Southeast Fisheries Science Center and 5 people from the Southeast Regional Office lost their jobs. And the stock assessment process in the Gulf, Caribbean, and South Atlantic all go through this one science center. So one science center runs stock assessments for all 3 regions. And a lot of times if we need like a stock assessment on red snapper, that only happens like every 3 to 5 years. And you would think it would happen more frequently on such an important fish, but the Southeast Fisheries Science Center has data constraints and people constraints, and they do it for 3 different regions, so we can't do it all the time. Well, with these 15 people gone, it's a lot more than 10% of their staff.
Right.
And they're saying now the stock assessments could take almost twice as long.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, unbelievable and super frustrating. But I think things will innovate, right? I mean, they're already talking about AI now, and they're really close to getting AI to be able to read this camera footage. They do these.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
They do these it's called a G-Fisher. I forget how they bundle it, but there's 3 different camera arrays in the Gulf, and they drop these cameras and they see all the fish and they count all the fish on the screen, and they have lasers. They can actually tell the length of the fish. It gives them a lot of scientific data.
Pretty crazy.
But it takes someone sitting in a dark room watching that camera footage, and they go out and get hours and hours and hours of this camera footage, but they can only digest a very small percentage of the total camera footage, and it takes them a year and a half to go through this process and to kind of update the indices of abundance. But AI can do that in seconds before the boat even hits the dock. So these cameras can be dropped in the water. The AI can digest the information and then transmit it. So all of a sudden we'll have up-to-date, real-time scientific data coming back. They're close. It's not there yet, but they're getting there. And there's some pretty big revolutionary advances like that I think can help combat it, because technology is helping us kill more fish. We need technology to also help us
protect more fish.
Exactly.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense, and it's really exciting to hear that stuff's coming on the horizon. I had a quite lengthy phone call with a guy the other night, and we started talking about all this stuff you see on social media right now with the FWC commission and they need to revamp and they're developers and which that's a whole nother radio show probably.
I was about to say,
but
we're up against the break. We don't have time for that.
We evolved into like, dude, they're doing the best they can. Like they take the best available science we have and make decisions on.
That's all
like,
we can do.
You can't blame them. We need better science, better data collection.
And on the flip side of that, you could have $1 billion unlimited scientific budget today and start doing all the best science in the world, which would be great. We'd have better informed management. We'd have more reliable, hard data we could all agree is awesome. And we could really improve the process. But without enforcement, all that's useless.
100%.
You could have all the science in the world, the best management, best informed management. We could all agree and sing Kumbaya into the future, but without enforcement, it's useless.
Law-abiding citizens aren't the ones raping the resource.
That was a strongly worded phrase. I like it. Real Animals Radio will be right back after this. Don't go anywhere. Citizens aren't the ones raping the resource. I've been watching The Wire. Have you ever watched The Wire? Dude, you got to watch The Wire. It's a great show. The Wire?
I've never heard of it.
I think it's from, I forget when. It was quite a few years ago, but it's a killer show.
Okay.
Cop show.
Okay.
Really, really good. But at the beginning of every episode, they start with like a gritty quote someone says in the episode. If we were doing an episode of The Wire, that would have definitely been it. It's funny. It's not law-abiding citizens raping resource.
A buddy of mine texted me. He must be listening because he goes, fishing was a sport when one had to earn it. Now it's now it's an American sport, i.e. instant gratification, if you wish to afford the technology. Like pickleball to tennis. Put your time into master a sport or take the shortcut to put on an act of sporting.
Pickleball.
So if you don't want to learn how to play tennis, just go play pickleball.
Yeah. I know a lot of tennis people that play pickleball, though.
It's getting there.
Lexus invites you to experience the exhilarating performance and attention to every detail that makes a Lexus so
Ronnie's got a point. He said, boiling down all of your innovation comments, the biggest innovation may be the ability to carry a supercomputer. Same computer AI capability as moonshot computers, like the people who landed on the moon, in your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just insane.
Especially inshore, because you can still use your phone while on the boat and access all that stuff, you know?
Right.
Once you're offshore, you lose a little bit about that access, but that's not very long. I mean, come June, they're going to launch that T-Mobile thing where you'll be able to use your phone carrier service offshore.
Yeah.
Offshore. Yeah. And they're rolling that out to everybody. So if you're with like AT&T or anybody else, you can sign up for it.
Oh, are they?
You can sign up for it during the pilot.
We just paid off all of our devices because we were like, well, we're thinking about switching to T-Mobile, and we're like, well, we still owe a little, like, $100 on this, $100 on Rachel's phone, $100 on Anna's phone, So we just went ahead and paid everything off, so we're free and clear.
Yeah.
I didn't know they're rolling it out to everybody.
Well, the pilot period would be rolled out to everybody, but I think it'll be only for T-Mobile customers.
Okay.
But I think it's another like $9.99 a month if you want it after that trial period.
Yeah.
But it'll be free to anybody on any service for the first couple months.
Gotcha.
I think they want to like load test the network kind of thing.
That's pretty crazy.
It will be.
That's cool though. I mean,
but like Ed Walker has Starlink on his boat,
right?
And he said the hardest part is like you'll get to a fishing spot and anchor up, and everybody's sitting down on their phones. Hey, get off your phones and start fishing.
Yeah.
While you're 60 miles offshore.
Right.
It's pretty wild. I'm sure you run into that inshore too. People taking calls and texting.
I'm getting paid.
Yeah. Let them fish. Let them use their phones if they want.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Yeah. Sounded like a commercial.
Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
We're back, Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio, talking fishing this morning. Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina, Captain Bobby Woodard from Flying High Charters. in studio with me this morning. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Relentless Perpetual Eds. Actually, I just did that one, didn't I?
You did.
Power Pucks, the world's first power supply trolling motor, quick release bracket. It eliminates the need for an exterior power plug, which can snag lines, corrode easily, and just be an eyesore cluttering up your deck. Go to pwrpux.com and find out for yourself why this is the choice of many of the pros nowadays. Power Pucks. Good people, affordable roofing, Relentless, Power Pucks, all the great sponsors of our Real Animals radio show. Our good friends over at Gator Gyms, all the awesome people that make this show possible. And Bobby, thanks for coming on this morning.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the invite. It's always a pleasure to drive across the bay and
From
talk fishing.
Imperial Polk County.
God's country.
And thanks, JB, on the other side of the glass for making us sound great this morning and dealing with us yet again for sure. And, of course, all of you listening and joining on the live streams, we appreciate everybody. Hopefully we'll see you all out on, again, Tuesday, April 15th at OCC Roadhouse on 49th there in Pinellas. It's going to be a good time, free stuff given away, free Bull Bay rods, free Engel coolers. We're going to be giving away some Hubbard's Marina swag, some Real Animal swag. You got a chance to win a lot of stuff. Myself and Capt Mike will both be there. Maybe Capt Bobby, maybe Capt Travis. Maybe we can carpool together. Who knows?
There you go.
Yeah, and maybe Mike Mahoney, all the other teams. So as it gets closer, and then, like I said, there's a strong chance this is becoming a monthly thing. We'll have more information on that next weekend. And we got the Seafood Fest, John's Pass Seafood Festival going on strong today and tomorrow. So come on down and join us. Stop by Don's Dock, grab yourself a plate of crawfish boil. And we got some killer deals and shops and vendors inside the pass. It's a great time. And it's free trolley from the Madeira Beach Fundamental School. So that's what I recommend if you're going down to Seafood Fest today.
100%.
For sure.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, free parking, free trolley, avoid the chaos. It is a great way to get down there, or take an Uber, one of those options as well. So hopefully you'll get a chance to get out there on the water. Weather is looking a little breezy here today, but it's going to calm down a little this afternoon. Be a little breezy tomorrow. We have a little bit of a rain chance, I believe, tomorrow morning, especially the wee hours of the morning. Monday is more moderate, but it calms down. Tuesday is looking great. Wednesday is looking pretty darn good as well. It picks up a little bit Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. So keep an eye on that forecast. It is shifting a lot. This time of year is very breezy, but the forecast can shift quickly. So keep an eye on it. One day might look good, then 12 hours later it could look breezy again. So definitely keep checking that weather and take advantage of these weather windows while you can. Speaking of weather and windows, check out our friends at Reese Windows and Doors. They're Florida's leading window and door company with over 50 years in the business. They offer free installation on most windows and doors, and they install in just 6 weeks. They use in-house installers, no freelance contractors, and it comes with a double lifetime warranty, which means you never pay for the warranty, and when you sell your home, the warranty transfers to the new homeowners, adding value to your home. Visit reesewindows.com for more information. How would someone book a tarpon trip with you if they want to fill in the last couple gaps on a reputable tarpon captain's schedule, buddy?
Yeah, pretty easy. 863-224-1418 or captain-bobby.com.
That's it. Give them a shout, check them out, and hopefully you'll get your tarpon trips booked up, red snapper trips booked up, gag grouper trips booked up. All those really sought-after, demanded seasons are all filling up really fast, really early. Gag season's going to be a little shorter this year, only looking at 6 to 10 days maybe. So you want to book it, start September 1st, and it's going to be open for a short time. Same with amberjack. Just heard preliminary data. Amberjack's going to be shorter as well. So book those trips early and get out there and take advantage. And hopefully we'll see you Tuesday, April 15th at OCC Roadhouse. Don't forget to check out Real Animals Sunday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on 620 WDAE. Tomorrow night, our live stream show at 7:30 p.m. on the Hubbard's Marina and Real Animals Facebook page. Y'all have a great Saturday, a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Real Animals Radio. We're out.
The preceding program was paid for by Real Animals.
And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Forgot that.
See you later,
Appreciate
guys.
you. Appreciate you all for tuning in and hanging out with us today. Hopefully you enjoyed the show and the stream. Hopefully we'll see you again next week. Thanks for being a part of it, y'all. See you.